A 34-year-old engineer spent $47,000 and 11 months of his life trying to save a woman who was actively destroying him.
Time is gone.
She had another reality.
You were left.
Welcome to this deep dive. Today, you and I are opening a leaked confidential dossier. We aren't just sitting here telling you a sad story. We're dissecting a psychological crime scene, layer by layer, to teach you exactly how to spot manipulation traps in the wild. Our victim today is a guy named Dale. He is 34, fresh out of a bad divorce, making good money, and he loved playing the protector. The predator in this scenario is a woman named Lena. She was an absolute master of weaponized vulnerability. And I mean, wait until you hear what she did next.
Right, because the reality of this dynamic is that Lena didn't present as a monster right out of the gate. That is not how a street-level hustle like this works.
Yeah, they'd run if she did.
Exactly. If a predator shows their teeth on day one, the prey just runs. So she presented as a victim, a desperate, terrified survivor of a cruel world who just, she just needed a break. And Dale had a psychological profile that made him the perfect target.
He desperately needed to be the hero.
He really did. He had this deep compulsion to just step in, fix the broken pieces, and be the savior.
He wanted to be the guy who rides in and makes everything okay. But how does a smart, highly capable guy, a structural engineer whose literal job is to find the weak points in a foundation, how does he get taken for nearly 50 grand by someone running a long con? Let's bypass the buildup for a second. Let's go straight to the night it all imploded. Set that scene for us.
Okay, let's break down the exact timeline of the climax. It is a Tuesday night, exactly 9:14 p.m.
So specific.
Yeah, the dossier is precise. They are sitting in the harsh, fluorescent glare of a 24-hour diner parking lot. Dale and Lena have been together for 11 months. Over that time, Dale's financial outlay has been just staggering.
He's bleeding money.
Bleeding it. He just bought her a 2019 Honda CR-V. Now, the title is in her name, but he co-signed the loan. So he legally tied his financial future to hers.
Which is insane.
Right. And prior to that, he paid the first and last month's rent on a brand new upgraded apartment for her. He bought her a high-end laptop, supposedly, so she could start an online business to get back on her feet.
Oh, right. The classic, I'm starting a business line.
Yep. Add up the car down payment, the loan liability, the rent, the tech, the groceries, the endless dinners. You are looking at $47,000.
47 grand.
Yeah.
Just gone. So what triggers the explosion in this parking lot? Because if you're listening to this in your car right now, you're probably assuming he caught her cheating.
That would be the logical guess.
Yeah. Or they had some screaming match over a max-out credit card. But it wasn't that, right?
It's just a question.
Dale simply asks when he can finally meet her 4-year-old daughter, Mia.
That's it. That is the whole trigger.
He has invested nearly a year of his life. He's drained his savings to provide a safe home and a safe car for them. And he just wants to meet the kid.
Right. And this is the exact moment the transaction is complete. The hustle has reached its expiration date.
The mask slips.
It doesn't even slip. It just instantly drops. It vanishes. She doesn't yell. She doesn't cry. She turns completely cold and flat.
God, that's terrifying.
It really is. She looks right at him, her voice deadpan, and tells him point blank that he will never meet Mia.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because she doesn't just break up with him. She dismantles his entire reality.
Yeah, she drops this brutal reveal. For 11 months, Lena had been telling Dale that her ex, Mia's father, a guy named Corey, was this terrifying, violent abuser.
Like a total monster.
Exactly. She had a whole narrative built around escaping him, running for her life, hiding in the shadows. But standing there by the shiny new Honda, she reveals the truth.
Which is just wild.
Right. Corey is actually just a normal, boring mechanic living in Bakersfield. He has never hit her. He pays his child support on time.
He's just a regular dude.
Just a guy who sees his daughter every other weekend. She admits right to Dale's face that she lied and made her ex sound like a monster simply because it worked on Dale. She knew that the abusive ex storyline would absolutely guarantee Dale's financial protection.
The audacity is just staggering. That is absolute trash. She acts like a street hustler laughing at a mark after picking their pocket in broad daylight. She knew exactly what buttons to push. And then she twists the knife on her way out, doesn't she?
Oh, her exit is a masterclass in psychological cruelty. She literally calls Dale a mark.
To his face.
To his face. She tells him that he doesn't actually save women, he just buys them. He buys their pain to make himself feel powerful.
That is brutal.
And then she advises him to go to a bookstore and read a book called The Gift of Fear. Then she gets into the brand new car he just paid for, turns the key, and drives off into the night.
Leaving him just standing there.
Just standing alone in a diner parking lot.
The sheer coldness of it is hard to wrap your head around. But here's the real question for you listening right now. How could he be so blind?
Well, people see what they want to see.
Right, but a bomb like that doesn't just go off without a ticking sound. You don't just wake up 11 months later and realize your girlfriend is a phantom. There had to be red flags.
Oh, there were plenty.
Let's dig into the evidence she left behind, starting from the beginning.
If we rewind the tape and step through the retrospective evidence, Lena left a very clear trail of traps. Dale just consciously chose to step over them. Or worse, step right into them.
Okay, so what was crap number one?
Let's look at the baseline narrative she established. Every single ex-boyfriend she ever mentioned was described as a monster or a terrible abuser.
All of them.
All of them. The stories were horrific, but they were incredibly vague. They were highly emotionally charged, designed to trigger outrage, but there's a glaring lack of proof.
So no police reports.
No police reports, no hospital records, no court documents, no restraining orders. Just her word, heavily laced with tears.
Right, the tears were the currency. It's crazy because if a buddy told Dale a story about being robbed or attacked, Dale's logical brain would kick in.
He'd ask for proof.
He'd ask for the police report. He'd ask for the details. But because this story is wrapped in a woman's tears, his logic completely shorts out. If she's crying, the story must be true.
It's an emotional override.
But how does she keep him on the hook day to day? Because Dale had a demanding job, right? You'd think he'd want a partner he could lean on eventually.
You'd think so, but Lena instituted a dynamic of a one-way rescue. Dale was constantly solving her problems, but his own stress was completely ignored.
He's an engineer, right? That's a high-stress job.
Dale ran a structural engineering firm. He had deadlines, client issues, massive financial stress of his own. But when he came home and tried to vent about his day, Lena would shut it down immediately.
How? What would she say?
She would claim she was too fragile. She'd say, I'm barely holding it together, Dale. I can't possibly carry your burdens on top of my own trauma.
Oh, wow. So she just deflects it back to her.
It was a completely asymmetrical relationship. He was her rock, but he was entirely alone in the relationship.
So she trains him to never ask for support. And I imagine this blindness bled directly into his finances next.
It did. And the financial drain followed a very specific, calculated trajectory. In the beginning, like the first 3 months, her gratitude was intense.
Just over the top.
She bombarded him with appreciation. If he bought groceries, she would weep with joy, playing the overwhelmed survivor who finally, miraculously, found a good man.
It's a form of manipulation where the intense affection is disguised as relief.
Exactly. But that gratitude plateaued around month 4. By month 7, the gratitude morphed into pure, unfiltered entitlement.
So the script flipped.
Completely. Asking for the car wasn't a request. It was framed as a test of his commitment to her safety.
Yeah, if he said no to the car, he wasn't a hero anymore. He was just another guy letting her down, leaving her vulnerable to the monsters out there.
Exactly. Which leads us to how she maintained this illusion without anyone stepping in to warn him. She had to isolate him.
Because his friends would have seen right through it.
They absolutely would have. And she isolated him through nobility. She would constantly praise Dale for not being like those other selfish men. She put him on a moral pedestal so high that he couldn't hear the people on the ground.
Wait, I'm going to push back on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you're listening to this, you might be thinking what I'm thinking. Isn't it normal to cut off toxic friends to protect your partner?
In a healthy dynamic, maybe?
Let's say Dale's buddies are trashing his girlfriend, questioning her character, making her uncomfortable at barbecues. If you're a good boyfriend, you defend your girl. Right. You prioritize the relationship. It's us against the world.
It sounds like normal loyalty on the surface, yes. And that is exactly why the trap is so effective. But you have to look at why his friends were questioning her.
They saw the red flags.
They did. Her praise was a calculated weapon. The moment Dale's male friends started noticing massive holes in her stories, asking highly logical questions like, why doesn't she have a job yet if she has that new laptop?
Right. Totally valid question.
Or, why does her timeline about Bakersfield not make any sense? She didn't answer the questions. Instead, she attacked the friend's character.
She flipped it on them.
She branded them as jealous, toxic, and unsafe. She cried to Dale, telling him his friends were triggering her past trauma.
But guys roast each other. Guys are naturally skeptical. If my friends are just being jerks to my girlfriend, I'm going to tell them to back off. If they don't, I'm cutting them out. That's just being protective.
But they weren't roasting him. They were trying to warn him. They were throwing him a life preserver. Lena recognized that Dale's friends were a threat to her operation.
Because they were bringing logic into it.
Right. So she made Dale feel so noble, so morally superior to his toxic friends, that he willingly cut them off. She told him, "You're the only one who truly understands me. Your friends are just like my ex."
Oh, that is so manipulative.
She forced him to choose between his identity as her savior and his history with his friends.
Ah, I see. Honestly, looking at it from the outside now, Dale was a bit of a coward here.
He took the easy way out.
He really did. He abandoned his actual real-life male friends who had his back for years just because they started asking hard, factual questions about her stories. Instead of having an uncomfortable conversation, he traded his loyalty to his boys for a cheap feeling of superiority.
Because that superiority felt good.
Right. He wanted the fantasy of being the sole protector, and his friends were ruining that fantasy with facts.
He absolutely chose the fantasy over reality. Predators isolate you by making you feel like you two are the only sane, good people left in the world.
Just entirely dependent on each other.
And the ultimate anchor for that fantasy, the thing that kept him dragging his feet forward month after month, was her daughter.
Yeah.
Right. She used the child as leverage. Mia was a moving goalpost. Lena would say, "You'll meet her soon when she's ready."
Just dangling the carrot.
"Corey is making it difficult right now, but once we are settled, you'll be a real father to her." It kept Dale constantly invested, constantly striving for a payoff, a ready-made family that she knew was never going to happen.
Recognizing a trap after it snaps shut on your leg is one thing. So you could look down and say, yep, that's a bear trap. But how does she actually hack his brain to make him willingly step into it in the first place?
You mean beyond just the sob stories?
Yeah, if she wasn't putting a gun to his head, how did she extract $47,000?
This is where we break down the brutal, street-level mechanics of this specific type of predation. Step one is what we call the mirror of maturity.
What does that mean?
It's crucial to understand that Lena did not play a weak, hysterical, helpless damsel in distress. She played a resilient survivor.
That's an interesting distinction.
What's fascinating here is the street psychology behind that choice. A weak, helpless victim attracts a bully, but a strong, resilient victim who is quietly struggling, that attracts a savior.
Okay, let's unpack this. She wasn't just crying hysterically in a corner, begging for money. She was doing the stoic crying, right?
Precisely. That is the engine of the hustle, the performance of pain. Lena didn't wail or scream or throw things. She used stoic crying.
It's the tight jaw, looking away bravely.
Taking a deep, shaky breath and saying, "I'll figure it out myself," holding back the tears so he has to coax the pain out of her.
It's like a locked safe. That stoic performance, it signals this deep, hidden, unprocessed pain that makes the guy think, I have to be the noble safecracker to unlock her.
He feels chosen.
Right. I'm the only one patient enough, strong enough, good enough to get through this tough exterior. If she just yells and demands a car, he walks away. But the silent, brave struggle, it's absolute catnip for a guy who wants to prove his worth.
It is remarkably effective. It bypasses all critical thinking. And while he's busy trying to crack the safe, while he's hyper-focused on comforting her, she's locking him into an emotional debt.
An emotional debt. How does that work?
Every single act of kindness, every time Dale paid for something, she framed it as him paying down her trauma. When he bought the Honda CR-V, he wasn't just buying mode of transportation. She framed it as him proving that good men still exist in the world.
So the money equals goodness.
She made his money the ultimate proof of his character. Refusing to help financially meant he was siding with the monsters who hurt her before.
Which brings us to the most vicious part of the hack, the weaponized guilt. If Dale ever got suspicious, if his logic briefly flickered back online and he hesitated to open his wallet for the rent or the laptop, she would instantly flip the script on him.
Yes. She weaponized his own conscience against him. If he questioned her timeline or asked why she couldn't get a part-time job, she wouldn't argue the facts.
Because she didn't have any facts.
Exactly. She would look at him with utter disappointment and say, "I knew it. You're just like the rest of them. You don't really care about my safety. You just want sex. You're just using your money to control me."
Man, that is lethal. because this triggers his deepest fear of being a bad guy. It forces him to double down and buy the car just to prove his morality.
He has to prove he's not the abuser.
It's like a rigged casino game. You walk in, you put your money on the table, but the door is locked behind you. Cashing out makes you the villain.
You can't just leave.
If you try to leave the table, the dealer announces to the whole room that you're a monster who abuses women. You can't leave without admitting you're the bad guy, so you just keep shoving your chips to the center of the table. You drain your bank account, your savings, your sanity, just to prove to this person that you have a soul.
That is a perfect analogy. He was trapped by his own desperate need to be seen as a fundamentally good man. She knew that Dale would rather go bankrupt than be grouped in with the abusers she talked about. She held his own self-image hostage.
But let's turn the spotlight for a second. If Lena was just a hunter wearing a victim costume, what does that make Dale? We've talked about what she did to him, but we need to look at the harsh truth of why guys like Dale fall for this so completely.
This is the hard lesson, and it's a bitter pill to swallow for anyone who relates to Dale. Dale wasn't really saving a woman. He was trying to save a version of himself.
Wait, really? How so?
Specifically, the version of himself that felt completely powerless in his previous marriage. In the dossier, he described his ex-wife as emotionally unavailable and fiercely independent.
So she didn't need him.
Right. He felt useless in that marriage. He felt like he failed as a man. With Lena, he was trying to be the man he wished he had been. He projected his own desperate need for redemption onto a woman who was just using him as a human ATM.
Wow. He wasn't looking at her at all. He was looking in a mirror. He was trying to rewrite his own history of failure by succeeding with Lena.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to establish what a real victim actually looks like. Because out there in the real world, genuine victims of terrible circumstances do exist.
Of course they do.
But a real victim navigates the world very differently than Lena did. A real victim works with the system. They go to shelters, they talk to the police, they seek out legitimate support networks, domestic violence advocates, and community resources.
They aren't just relying on some guy they met 3 months ago.
No, they ask for a hand up, not a handout. Most importantly, a real victim is incredibly wary of help. They are suspicious of someone swooping in with a checkbook. They don't demand a new car or a luxury apartment as a test of your loyalty.
Right. Someone who has truly been burned isn't asking you to prove you're a good guy by signing a lease for them. They're terrified of owing you anything.
That's the key difference.
Lena wasn't broken. She was a predator. And Dale wasn't a hero. He was just a guy using a savior costume to hide from his own loneliness and his own low self-worth. So what does this all mean? If someone listening right now feels that urge to swoop in and rescue someone they're dating, if they feel that pull to just pay off the debt, buy the car, fix the light, what do they do?
The core rule you have to walk away with today is this. Stop saving women or men. Stop saving romantic partners.
Just stop.
No one who actually needs saving is asking for it in a romantic context. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel compelled to rescue someone who constantly needs financial bailouts, who is always the victim of every ex and every boss, stop.
Take a step back.
Ask yourself what you are running from in your own life. The answer is almost always your own reflection. Stop saving, start seeing. The moment you feel like a knight in shining armor in a relationship, you've already become a target.
Think about this as you go about your week. What if the people who broadcast their trauma the loudest aren't actually looking for healing? What if they aren't looking for a partner at all? What they're just auditioning their pain to screen for the perfect, gullible audience who will pay the price of admission?
It forces you to take a hard look at your own motivations. This raises an important question for all of us about who we let into our lives and what blind spots we are carrying that predators can see as clear as day.
Check your phone tonight, because the next story we tell might be yours.